Ramon Dees here, 48 Days Marketing Coach. I trust that you are having a great day, a great week, a great 2018, or maybe even a later year, depending upon when you may be watching this blog post. I'm excited, kicking off the second week of our new Faith and Work series as we are going over Doing Business by the Good Book, Part 2, where we're talking about integrity this week. And for anybody that may be just joining us again, I just made a decision to add a new category to my primarily a business blog, and using David Stewart's book, Doing Business by the Good Book, as a foundation. And so this week is all about integrity. All right. We're kicking off this chapter with the verse coming from Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1, where it says, a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. A little tongue-tied there, maybe dyslexic. David Stewart makes this statement early in the chapter. He says, the way that I see it, a business person is obligated to be honor-bound, to live by the spoken word. To paraphrase an old cliche, a man is only as good as his word. Standing behind your word is every bit as relevant today as it was when a handshake was all that it took to seal a business deal. Then we're told in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 17 through 20, that we are ambassadors for God. As ambassadors of God, we represent him each and every day of our lives. In this capacity, each of us has a 24-hour-a-day commitment on and off the job. Now, here's the challenge. To gain an edge over a competitor, many people are prone to give in to the temptation to engage in unprincipled practices. Now, David makes this statement in the book, but I also, I've seen this in my own experience. I'll never forget when I was working for a mortgage broker about 20 years ago, to be exact. And I remember seeing people take blank W-2s and walk up to typewriters to create the scenario that was necessary to get a loan through underwriting so that they could get that commission. And I didn't agree with that then, and I don't agree with it now. It's never acceptable to engage in that kind of unprincipled, unscrupulous behavior for financial gain. It's business, they claim. It's a cutthroat, dog-eat-dog world, and to get ahead, I have to get the other guy or gal before they get me. That's what people say. Well, I agree with Mr. Stewart. No matter how fierce the competition, this attitude has no place in the workplace. Why is that? Well, because it goes back to what's most important, which I covered in the very foundational blog post to this new series, this Faith and Work series, that is. Hebrews 9:27 tells us, it's appointed unto man once to die, then the judgment. Believers and unbelievers, and specifically I'm speaking believers in Jesus Christ, or those that are not believers in Jesus Christ. Either way, all of us will stand before God and give an account for the deeds and decisions made in this life, both on the job and off the job, in business and outside of our businesses. Now, there are two different kinds of judgment. Believers will stand before the judgment seat of Christ, where unbelievers are going to stand before the great white throne judgment. Okay, just a side note, not really getting into that topic here today. However, I don't think any amount of monetary gain is worth putting my integrity on the line. Because see, a person, male or female, that will sell out their integrity cannot be trusted to follow through on any commitment. That includes the commitment to be a husband or a wife to one spouse, the commitment to serve our employees, or to do what's in the best interest of our customers, our clients, our patients. As business owners and leaders, we have an obligation to lead by example. And if for no other reason, integrity is important because of the principle of sowing and reaping. You see, Galatians chapter 6, verse 7 instructs us to be not deceived. A man reaps what he sows. Left the S off there. If we sow duplicity in our business dealings, we must be prepared to reap duplicity. I don't know anyone who wants to be on the receiving end of cutthroat business practices. However, if we see fit to sow that kind of behavior, then we must be prepared to reap the corresponding harvest. You know, I love one of the points Mr. Stewart emphasizes in this chapter. He states, a person's reputation is a most valued asset, one to be treasured. One's reputation is based on whether one keeps his or her word. We're taught in Proverbs 22, verse 1, again, a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver and gold. It takes a lifetime to build a good reputation, but it can be lost overnight. You know, today I've said multiple times, we live in a reputation economy where the 5-star rating is making and breaking businesses all over the world. Online reviews have everything to do with reputation. Failure to recognize this reality and respond accordingly has meant death to some entrepreneurs. You see, while fake reviews exist, I'm a firm believer that any business that makes a regular and systematic practice of delivering 5-star service and collecting customer feedback will never be in jeopardy of going out of business because of a bad name. And the reason why I say that is this: the occasional bad review will never overwhelm the consistent reality of what customers experience. Now, here's the challenge. Customers are much more likely to leave feedback in the event of a negative review. In the event of a negative experience. And so what some businesses find themselves dealing with is, because they do not have a process, a systematic process in place to regularly ask their customers to leave reviews, then they end up at the mercy of the few disgruntled customers that do leave a review because their reputation has to some degree been neglected. And I get it. Entrepreneurs, small business owners, hey, we wear multiple hats. There's this constant juggling to not let a ball hit the ground. And now that we live in this reputation economy, well, there's one more thing that we need to keep up with. Well, that's the reality of the economy and the world that we live in. And so if we don't put a system in place, then it is more likely that by not asking your customers, your clients, your patients to leave reviews on a regular basis, well, you can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time. So those few people that did not have a great experience, yes, unfortunately, they may go online, leave a review, and now there's a disproportionate number of negative reviews that don't properly represent your business and the service that you deliver. And as business owners and as leaders, we need to be proactive and do the right thing so that the reviews that are online are properly represented or are accurately representing the brand and the service level that we're delivering on a regular basis. Okay. So that's my position on that. Now, and again, when you're doing that consistently, then the occasional bad review, there's an assumption here that we are delivering 4- and 5-star service on a regular basis. In that case, the occasional bad review will never overwhelm the consistent reality of what customers are experiencing. Okay. However, if a brand has a majority of customers who don't think well of the products and services that are being delivered to the marketplace, there's a much bigger problem on the line. A customer's disappointment is always proportionate to the distance between what they expected based upon what they were told or sold and what they actually received. Integrity is all about delivering what we promise in business. If and when we fail, and I definitely say when, because we can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time, we should do our best to make amends. Consumers recognize business owners with an occasional negative review who are willing to accept responsibility for the shortfalls and make it right. That's where integrity can really be seen. So what that says is, when you do get a negative review from your patients, customers, what have you, make sure that you respond. Make sure that you're authentic and transparent. Consumers can feel that versus, the snow job where you're just trying to, make a politically correct statement. As long as we're willing to make our word good when mistakes happen, we can create and maintain a good name. And a good name with God and mankind gives us the opportunity to profit both now and in eternity. And that's what winning is all about. So that being said, 3 questions to ponder. What was said? What does it mean to me? And what will I do about it? All right. Hey, I trust this has been of value to you. I appreciate your time for being here. If you found it valuable, worthwhile, love to hear your feedback beneath in the comments. And hey, share it with a friend, family member, coworker, another business owner. Next week, we're going to be diving into delegation. All right. That ought to be quite interesting for people whose plates are full and If you can appreciate or could appreciate getting something off your plate so you can live the lifestyle that you started your business to fund, then delegation will be a real value add. All right. See you next week.